Welcome to the Kurt Saxon Show, your countdown to the future. First, I want you to take down my phone number in case you want to call. The number is 501-437-2963. In case you didn't get it, here it is again, 501-437-2963. Sorry, but we can't accept collect calls. Tonight's topic is the Citizen Menace. It was first printed in the Weaponeer in 1984 and is now part of the Poor Man's James Bond Volume 3. It's my answer to John Campbell's The Barbarian Menace. Now I'll read the first part of it tonight and I'll read the last part of it tomorrow night. Within every organism, from the amoeba to man, lies the inherent urge to develop and express all its positive traits. Normally, organisms whose negative traits predominate are culled by the environment. In man, pre-tribal savage groups culled those with predominantly negative traits by killing or driving them away. Except in the best of times, even those who were physically strong and mentally healthy had a difficult time staying alive. A weakling or a dimwit could neither gather enough food nor defend the group. Any weakness of the individual was a threat to the group's survival. In time, some animals and plants were domesticated. The resulting surpluses permitted the keeping alive of some who were less than adequate to the rigors of savagery. This marked the birth of tribalism. Under the hardships of savagery, the only positive traits a man could develop were those which simply made him a better hunting animal. Tribalism, with its basic organization and cooperation, could have brought about the development of the higher traits we value in individuals of accomplishment. But under tribalism, the development of superior traits among individuals was discouraged in favor of conformity to group dictates. Such dictates were usually for the benefit of the chiefs and the priesthood. If a superior tribesman could carry out his duties better than his peers, he was honored. If, however, he sought to introduce progress beyond the capacities of the group, he was considered a threat. Ideas demanding higher intelligence to implement threatened the value of the less intelligent. Also, those in authority wanted a system only they could manipulate and control. If the ideas of the superior individual demanded the selection of more intelligent people, the leaders were threatened. So, under tribalistic dictatorship, higher individual traits went undeveloped, lest the people become independent of their mediocre rulers. An important sidelight to the development of social structure and the repression of individual development was organized religion. The savages' angry storm gods and gods of the hunt were largely replaced by tribalists' fertility gods. Rituals placating and serving these gods marked time between planting and harvesting. As the approaching seasons came to be marked by stars, the earth gods were kicked upstairs where they watched over everything from heaven. As tribalism and religion developed, traditions and taboos largely replaced nature as the culling agent. The traditions and taboos were mainly to ensure that the work got done. Those who did not follow tradition and broke taboos were gotten rid of. It would be a long time before written records and intelligent observation did away with the need for tradition, and all the gods ever dreamed up could be replaced by an almanac. Under tribalism, individual responsibility was neither encouraged nor wanted. Harmony and a continuation of a system that worked for the group was dependent on obedience. Tradition and religion governed every action. Under such a system, there could be no individuality, thus no innovation, hence no progress. Enter the barbarian. I like to think that in most cases he was one with a mind of his own who refused to take orders from superstitious, tradition-bound fools. He would not drudge from sunup until sundown with no expectation of personal reward or advancement. If he lacked creativity, it was probably because the system stifled it. Having been driven from the tribe because of nonconformity, he probably joined with other outcasts of his kind. Then I like to think he took the men back there, knocked off the chief, and made himself king. My kind of guy. Our barbarian king would not have been a social reformer. He was ignorant and primitive and would have had no standards of comparison. While in the tribe, he would have been rejected by the haves and have-nots alike. Under the circumstances, he could not have felt responsible for anyone in the tribe except possibly his immediate relatives. No, his only real responsibility would be to those who had supported him in the takeover. All any in his group would want was as good a life as the tribe had to offer, and then some. The only reorganization would have been directed toward improving his own position. He had been expelled by the priesthood and the now-dead rulers. He would have had no awe of the priesthood, since their magic had been no bar to his takeover. But since their mumbo-jumbo served to keep the people in line, he would have kept them on. However, they would have been demoted to positions where their influence would have been primarily over the brutish majority, much as today. Had the takeover been by the tribal soldiers, they would simply have looted the treasury, killed all those who had opposed them, and imposed a military dictatorship. The general might then have attacked surrounding tribes for more loot. But this isn't barbarism as such. It's just opportunism by the strong over the weak. The general is still bound by the old superstitions and taboos. Some overall changes might come as a result of social intercourse with the conquered tribes. Such basic cultural evolution is not a product of barbarism. Our barbarian king wasn't interested in cultural evolution, nor did he want revolution. He just wanted to take over the system and make it work to his advantage. In doing so, he created our modern Frankenstein, the citizen. The citizen was but one step above the tribalist. He could go along with the traditions, rituals, and taboos and sublimate his own will to that of the group. But he was superior in that he was adaptable. He could accept new ways, new ideas, and build on them. The tribalist was not adaptable. What he had been taught at his mother's knee by his priests and chiefs was written in the stone of his calcined brain. He could not change. The barbarian abolished those aspects of the system which had restricted him and kept him from fitting in. This also freed the citizen to develop and express his own positive traits, and civilization was born. So the barbarians, worldwide and throughout history, broke the restraints imposed by the weaker and closed-minded tribalists. The citizen types, free to create and build mainly for the benefit of their barbarian conquerors, spelled progress for all who could handle it. This also made room for many of those who could not handle progress, but more about this later. The above is, of necessity, a broad generalization. Culture, environment, climate, and various other factors also determine radical change. Basically, however, the dramatic interaction of tribalist, citizen, and barbarian depends on a relatively stable but stagnating social environment. Without the interference of barbarians, stagnation leads to decline and fall, as exemplified by the Egyptian and Chinese dynasties and the Roman Empire. Before going on, I'll give my definition of the four types and how they interact with modern society. First is the savage. Originally, he was the pre-tribal forager and food gatherer. As he evolved and gained skills, he developed crude weapons and became primarily a hunter of game. Life was hard for the savage, and compassion as a concept was unknown to him, since its implementation requires a surplus of food and/or effort the savage lacked as a matter of circumstance. Until cooperation in cornering game evolved, his fellows were only of value in helping to find food and mutual defense against other savage groups. His mate was only of value in helping with the drudgery and rearing his young. Only when primitive forms of agriculture and the domestication of animals evolved could the intelligent savage graduate to tribalism. In the last editorial, John Campbell was wrong in labeling the North American Indians as barbarian. First, there were dozens of groupings and subgroupings. Many of them had agriculture and domesticated animals and had therefore advanced to tribalism. Many others, however, were only hunters and food gatherers, and so were savages. Species evolution also plays a large part in the differences between the Indians and their European invaders. During the last ice age, about 15,000 years ago, water levels were lower due to the accumulation of ice covering the planet's land surface. Primitive Asiatics crossed the then dry Bering Strait and moved into the American continent. Thus cut off from the interaction between diverse cultures in Asia and Europe, they remained at a Stone Age level of development. They knew nothing of metalworking and so worked with stone, sapling, skins, bone, etc. They never used the wheel, and their only pack animals were dogs and squaws. At the coming of the white man, their intelligence was lower than his. Their primitive social systems required only strength and agility on a day-to-day basis. Abstract intelligence serves little purpose for survival on such a level. Thus, natural selection chose the physically strong and the agile to survive. Intelligence beyond that needed to outthink a bison was no more necessary in the matter of selection than was artistic ability. In all life forms, intelligence is only a tool. It simply doesn't enter into the process of natural selection unless it is critical to survival. Many Indian groups were quite civilized, such as my ancestors, the Cherokee. Even before the coming of the whites, they were farmers and lived in log homes. They were intelligent, and most had evolved to the level of citizen. Individualists with a healthy streak of barbarism, they sided with the British during the rebellion and fought on both sides during the Civil War, the Southern faction including many slave owners. But for John to label pre-tribal savage Indians barbarians contradicts his own definition. Indians at the tribalist level were enslaved, not by whites but by other Indians. Savages such as the Sioux, Comanche, Cheyenne, and Apaches could no more be enslaved than could wolves or coyotes be broken to herd sheep. They had neither the intelligence nor the social maturity to be pressed into any useful occupation, even to their own advantage. Incidentally, over the generations since the whites came here, most of the savage Indians were wiped out. Their descendants have, through natural selection, evolved to tribalism. The modern savage is as primitive and useless as the original Apache. He is, invariably, a predatory criminal. Muggers, armed robbers, thieves, and such like are savages. Like the primitive savage, he gathers and hunts, but among the populace. Like a small child, he takes what he wants, giving nothing in return. Thus, he is a total predator, a criminal with no value to society. Once his actions have become recognized as a habit pattern, he should be sterilized and isolated or destroyed. The savage personality is a genetic throwback to the Stone Age. He is like a child who has not grown mentally above the age of 4. Whether his savagery is an actual genetic defect or a result of minimal brain damage, he is seldom worth any efforts toward rehabilitation. Read Minimal Brain Damage, Volume 1, page 57 of The Survivor. John Campbell's definition of the tribalist is as accurate as any I could give. But with his definition, one can hardly escape the image of a skin-clad primitive trapped in a particularly rigid caste system. Instead, imagine our tribalist in modern dress driving a Chevrolet to his job on an assembly line. Although some tribalists may be intelligent, the average is dull normal. Tribalists are owned by their respective societies. They maintain the system in the push-pull-lift categories of labor. They have as many children as biology allows and eventually swamp any system with their incompetent strain of Homo sapien. A system which has matured to where automation and computerization of its maintenance does away with the need for these dim-witted brutes should sterilize them out of the species. But just the opposite happens. They are honored as humans. They are nurtured and cared for at staggering public expense, along with their blighted young. Without the increasingly dependent tribalist, the citizen and the barbarian could use our surpluses to create a progressively refined utopia. But not only the surplus, but the system's working capital is squandered for their upkeep. This beggars systems and keeps them on a constant war footing as each system competes for resources to maintain their increasingly parasitic tribalists. The tribalist is fixed in a state of arrested adolescence. He does not have the mental equipment to work without supervision or to accept responsibility, since he is but a cog in any work situation. Now we come to the citizen, supposedly the pride of the system, but in actuality its most serious menace. The citizen is generally supportive, adaptable, creative, and the real mainstay of any system above the agrarian. The citizen's flaw lies in his identification with the tribalists. He is reared with the attitude that he must protect and sustain his less fortunate brothers. Their religions and traditions are part of his programming, for better or for worse. As John Campbell says, the citizen is only one step ahead of the tribalist, not nearly far enough ahead for him to discount them as necessary to his fulfillment as a human being. They are the foundation on which he builds his life, and so the citizen is too often incapable of rejecting them. All men are created equal. We are all in this together. The brotherhood of man and other negative populist attitudes are the guides by which he is literally enslaved by his inferiors. He believes that they are his natural responsibility. Neither the savage, the tribalist, nor the barbarian really identifies with those who are of no benefit to his progress in life. In truth, they all see society's losers as competitors, simply using up what they feel they deserve or could earn without unfair competition from those who have nothing but needs. But to the citizen, the inferior is a sacred burden, a trust. The citizen is thus challenged to perfect a system kept imperfect by hordes of parasites. The attempt is always at the expense of the competent and simply delays the inevitable. And the inevitable is either a nuclear culling or a coast-to-coast New Delhi or Calcutta. The chickens have finally come home to roost, and our system is in serious trouble. No system so overburdened with social dependence and run by mediocrities can long prevail. Not only our system, but every diverse system on our planet is failing to cope with the realities of natural law. In our country, there are nearly 250 million people. Nearly 50 million of our workforce of 100 million are federal, state, or municipal workers paid out of taxes. Only about 60 million workers are depended upon to pay for the upkeep of our 80 million plus social dependents on welfare, Medicare, Social Security, and various pension systems and subsidies paid for by an ever-decreasing number of productive workers. Like herds of any of the lower animals, the populations of our planet have simply outbred the carrying capacities of our planet's social, economic, and ecological systems. There are nearly 5 billion people on Earth. Not only are there too many people, but most of them are not up to meeting the challenge of enlarging the productive capacities of our systems. Intelligence and overall competence is declining disastrously. Even our mediocre politicians are protesting our frivolous, silly, and imbecilic students and our schools, which do little more than babysit those unable to learn useful skills. Something has to give, and as with every past overburdened and unbalanced system, the bell is tolling. Today, over 40 wars further ravage the Third World. Destitute refugees from war and economic prostration are beginning to swamp the economies of every industrial nation. Whole towns are evacuated because of chemical pollution. Acid rain, a result of manufacturing for so many people here and for export, costs over $2 billion a year in the U.S. alone in erosion of our buildings and monuments. It also destroys all life in many of our lakes and streams, and even denudes our forests and threatens our croplands. Added to all this, the weather is increasingly turning on us, destroying homes and businesses as well as croplands. No one who can read this has failed to see the degenerative processes shown in living color on every news program. Most positions of authority on this planet are held by citizen types. Seeking only stopgap solutions and then only for their own dependence, world citizenry has become an actual threat to the species. Now, that was written 10 years ago, and as you probably realize, everything has gotten worse. Not one point has gotten better. We have over 50 or 500 million people more than we did now. There is well over 250 million people in the country. There's about 100 million social dependents, and so on and on and on. Now, I'll read the last half of that tomorrow. But in the meantime, my phone number is 501-437-2963. You're on 5.810 megahertz, and the mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas 72611. Now, we have only about 250 David Koresh Last Testaments left, and when they're gone, we're not going to print any more. So if you're interested to get that as part of the information packet for $10, then send your $10 in, and you'll get that and a sample copy of U.S. Militia, the only magazine for community defense, and Shoestring Entrepreneur, how to make and well, how to sell anything you can make or grow and get established in business no matter what situation you're in. And again, the address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas 72611. And if you send in your $10, you'll get a $5 refund on either subscription. Now, right now, I'm working on issue 4 of U.S. Militia, so and that should be ready to print within a week. So if you subscribe to U.S. Militia for $35, then you'll get 4 issues to start. And of course, a subscription to either U.S. Militia or Shoestring Entrepreneur will get you 10% off on all of my books and tapes. Now, in case you didn't take it down, the phone number is 501-437-2963. Now, both of the publications describe all of my books, the Poor Man's James Bond series and the Survivor series, and they start at $18 a piece, or if you're a subscriber, they're $16.20. That's your 10% off. Now, if you are interested in getting some of these tapes, they're $6 each, or $25 for a week's shows, postpaid. You send to Jeffries Audio, P.O. Box 326, Alpena, Arkansas 72611. Now, what we're going to do from now on is when anybody calls up telling us about something that they think that the listeners would like to buy, we're going to write those down. And so when people call in later and say that it didn't come in clear and you couldn't get it, then we'll be able to give it to you. So what's happening to the phone? We got no phone calls tonight? Am I supposed to start reading something again? I hope not. Now the phone number is 501-437-2963. Okay, let's say I give you some addresses of some things that you will really want to get. You should want to get Gurney's 1994 Spring Catalog. That's the America's most complete seed and nursery company. It's a beautiful catalog. It's free. And you just write to Gurney's, 110 Capitol Street, Yankton, South Dakota. That's SD, 57079. That's Gurney's, 110 Capitol Street, Yankton, South Dakota, 57079. And they'll send you one of the most beautiful seed catalogs you can imagine, and it's about time you sent for that catalog because planting time is coming around. Okay, here's a call. Hello, Kurt here.
Yes, I would like to know if I could get the address for that radio that was advertised last night.
Well, that's what I hope Carrie's going to run and get it.
Okay.
And let's see, it's $50.
Uh-huh.
And
I saw that.
yes, he's going to run and get it. And in the meantime, you just tell me what's happening to you today.
What's happening to me?
Yes.
Well, not too much. I just tuned into your radio show last night.
Yes.
I just got another shortwave radio.
Yes.
This one sounded interesting. It sounded like it would be better reception.
Well, it's a very nice, it's small, but it picks up as good as many of the more expensive ones. See, what's happening now, what's your name again?
Shirley.
Okay, Shirley. What's happening, Shirley, is that with electronics, they're getting perfected so that the new models are cheaper than the older models. And Carrie's got the address now.
Okay.
Okay, now the address is, did you want the phone number? Was that it?
Well, that'll be fine.
Okay, it's area code 216.
216.
788.
788.
7060.
7060.
So you call him tomorrow at working hours, and he'll be glad to tell you all about it.
Okay, thanks an awful lot.
You're very welcome, Shirley. Bye-bye.
Good one. Bye-bye.
Now, that is the Electronic Information Systems Company. Oh, let me give you my phone number, and then I'll read the address. The phone number is 501-437-2963. And the mailing address for the information packet is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And you send in your $10, you'll get a big information packet, and that will give you $5 off on either subscription. Now, where you get your very small, well, it's not really very small, but it's for I think $50, is I'll give you that after this call. Hello, Kurt Saxon here. Hello? Nobody there? Well, it flashed. Okay, maybe he'll have to call again, because the thing flashed and then I pushed the button and nothing happened. Anyway, if you want to order it for $50, you send your $50 to EIS, and that's 4150 Market, Boardman, Ohio 44510. I'll give you that again, but here's another call. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hello, Kurt. This is John from Louisiana.
Hi, John.
I got a little something for you listeners out there.
Okay.
Andy, it's in the way of gardening.
Mm-hmm.
There's a particular grain and vegetable green called amaranth.
Oh, yeah.
And you can get this through Abundant Life. Let me see this. Abundant Life Seed Foundation at Port Townsend, Washington.
Yes.
And it has in here amaranth is an extremely hardy, drought tolerant, and requires virtually no cultivation.
Yes.
Well,
what is amaranth? A lot of people don't know.
It's a grain and a green. I've grown some down here, and it did real well.
Can you feed your livestock with it?
Sir?
What about livestock?
I guess you could. If you got goats, they'll eat most any of it.
Yeah, well, what about sheep? Is it a good livestock forage?
I don't know. It might be. You'd have to. I guess we'd have to call.
Okay. I should suppose it would be a good livestock forage, because if you can eat it yourself, your livestock could use it. Also, from the pictures I've seen of it in organic gardening, it's quite a large plant.
Well, it can be. The plants I grew wasn't so big, but I couldn't pick it fast enough to eat it all.
Yeah.
It's very, very prolific.
Good.
One of the most nutritious green plants you can eat.
Yes, well, that's wonderful. And let's see, if rather than go to some specific, it's not sold all over the place, huh?
No, it's kind of hard to find.
Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not. Amaranth.
Amaranth.
2628. That's page 2628 of the Gurney seed catalog I just told you all about.
Did you? Well, okay. I don't have Gurneys yet.
Well, now you better do that. Did you take down the thing there?
No, I didn't.
Well, you ought. John.
Shame on me.
Listen. 26 and 28. Well, it's okay. Let's see if we can find amaranth. It said 26 and 28.
Some books it was called Tampala spinach.
Well, let's see. Amaranth there, did I? 26 and 28. 26 and 28. Didn't find it on 28, but this is 20. This is 25. 26. So let's see. Oh, globe amaranth. Yes, it's clover-like blossoms. Neat 6 to 8 inches mounds. I thought that was a bush more than anything else. I don't think that's.
Well, some of it's a flowering plant, some of it's vegetables.
Yeah.
You know, like the grain.
Yeah.
Goes up to 4 to 6 foot tall, and you grind up the grain for flour.
Yeah.
Or you add it to flour. It's 16% more protein than anything else on the market you can buy.
Yes.
And then you have the greens, and the greens you cut the stems. The stems taste quite a bit like asparagus.
Mm-hmm.
From our experience with it.
Yes.
And
well, anyway, they have at least one amaranth in your Gurney seed catalog. Now, they said it was on 28, but I don't find it on 28.
Well, you got popping, a poly, multicolor, poppy red dye, herb,
yeah,
amaranth, and in Bolivia, amaranth.
Well, I think if you search around for it, you can find it. I don't think you need to order it from any specific place, but everybody should get the Gurney's catalog, and you'll at least have one source for it.
What impressed me with it is the lack of having to nurse it all the time.
Yeah.
An exceptional famine food.
Mm-hmm.
So, hint, if things go bad, then there's a good food for us to be growing.
Yeah. Well, especially if you're in a place that doesn't rain much. Well, okay then. Thanks a lot for your suggestion, John.
No problem.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye.
Okay, now the mailing address for that EIS is 4150 Market, Boardman, Ohio, 44512. Now, if you want to call them up tomorrow, it's 216-788-7060. Okay, now again, my phone, oops, here's the call. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hello, Kurt. This is Henry in Arizona.
Hi, Henry.
Doing pretty good. I just had a couple of things here. I got my packet and I ordered some books from you, and I just had a whole box full of books. They're great.
Oh, great. You like them?
Yeah, The Poor Man's James Bond. I got the first 3 volumes.
Mm-hmm.
They're fantastic. They've got things in them I've been looking for the last 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
There they are. So I just want to let you know I'm quite pleased with them. And I got a question. I haven't received the Corona grain mill yet.
Well, if you...
Take a little longer?
Well, when did you order it?
About the 4th week in January.
Well, you should have gotten it by now.
Okay, well, I'll wait another couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, they send it out UPS. They might be swamped. It might be the weather also. The UPS didn't get to us for about 4 days.
Well, we'll just wait a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
And I did have one suggestion for the listeners. Out here you come in with a lot of QRM, static noise, and there's a high whistling and such.
Yeah.
And I found that if I tune you on upper sideband,
yes,
and I tune about 5.810.2, it gets rid of all the noise, and the audio is quite good.
Very good.
So listeners have a digital radio or one with sideband. They might try the upper sideband and fine-tune it. They'll find it gets rid of a lot of the static and interference.
Yeah.
Good.
Very good.
So listeners have a digital radio or one with sideband. They might try the upper sideband and fine-tune it. They'll find it gets rid of a lot of the static and interference. Yeah,
playing with my own shortwave radio, I find that even though they'll give you, like, say, 5.810 megahertz, which I am, sometimes when it's got a lot of static, you can pick it up better if you go one way or the other.
Yeah, well, I tried that first, and up around 5.812 it came in better, and then I played a little more, and I found upper sideband works terrific.
Yes.
So anyhow, just wanted to throw that out there in case anyone was having trouble.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, keep up the good work. Really enjoy your show.
Appreciate it. Okay, bye for now. Okay, the phone number again is 501-437-2963. The address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And for $10, you get your information packet, which consists of the U.S. militia and the shoestring entrepreneur and the Koresh. And you get your $5 refund on any subscription. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Yeah, Kurt, this is Harry from Middletown, Ohio.
Hi, Harry.
I sent in for your packet on January the 13th.
Oh.
And I ain't got it yet.
You should have gotten it yet. I tell you what, you send us a postcard.
I sent a postcard yesterday, and the main reason I called is because you said you only had so many of those.
Well, if you sent in the postcard yesterday, we will get it in a couple of days, and we'll just send it out. They're not going that fast.
Okay.
We sent a couple where people wrote letters, and we got them today. They said that they had ordered it a month ago, and so that's too long. There's a good chance that they went astray.
Yeah, could be.
So we just send you another packet, this time by book rate mail.
Okay. You know, I was looking in a magazine here, 92 Alternative Energy Source book, and they got that Corona stone mill advertised for $85.
Yeah, well, you don't want the stone mill anyway.
Well, whatever. Because
the stone mill will break. And that's sort of fraudulent, really, with the stone mill.
Yeah, okay.
Because they charge a lot more for it, and the reason they give for the stone mill is because they're talking about a stone mill for commercial grinding of wheat and things, and they say that the steel burr mill in the bakery company, or where they're grinding the grain, goes so fast that it harms the nutrition of the wheat.
Well, this is a crank.
I know. Well, you see, the thing is, where they're putting one over on people is that you have a steel burr mill, which is the Corona grain mill. It's got a steel burr, not a stone mill. You're not going to grind fast enough to work up any heat.
No.
So grinding with the stone, it's going to go just as fast by grinding it by hand as
this is a hand grind.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
I know. Well, you can't grind it by hand fast enough to hurt the wheat.
That's right.
And you're going to get the same amount of heat with your hand grinding stone mill.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a deceptive, I think.
Well, this one shows here as a grind, as a hand grind with a hopper on top that you pour it in.
Yeah, well, also, you see, your stone mill, you can't grind soybeans or peanuts or anything with oil in them because it messes up the stone, but you can grind anything with the Corona hand grinder with the steel burrs. You can even shell sunflower seeds.
Yeah. Well, I sure like your program. It's too bad you ain't been on for a year.
Well, why?
It's all been ahead.
Well, okay. Well,
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yep.
Anyway, look, we'll get your card, and we want you to get that packet, and anything that you order from me, if for some reason it goes astray because of the mail, and you can't tell anymore,
Yeah, I know.
We'll make sure you get it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure enough.
Sure enough. Bye-bye. Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963, and the mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And if you send in your $10, you'll get you a fantastic introductory packet consisting of the U.S. militia, which tells you how to make all the kinds of weapons you want. You don't never need to fear being disarmed because you can replace all your weapons with far more devastating weapons. Oh, just a minute. Here's another call. Hello. Whoop. Okay, nothing happened there. It was just somebody called and pressed the button and nothing happened. Oh, you're calling again. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Yeah, hi, Kurt. Calling from Maryland.
Yes.
Been listening to your program for about a month now, and I sent away for your package.
Did you get it yet?
I'm like everybody else. I'll tell you, from listening to as many people that say they haven't gotten theirs, some as long as several weeks, I'm in the mail order business, and never have I had that kind of a problem.
Well, I sent them out bulk mail.
Uh-huh.
See, now that took, I had so much, see, I've sent out stuff bulk mail for years and years, but I never had that kind of problem until now. And so I just said, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'll just send them out book rate mail.
Well, I thought there may have been some leftist in there sabotaging you or something.
I don't think there's a Pat at the post office is apolitical, and wherever they go, they don't, well, there's no way to tell what's in the package. And it is bulk mail, and we've been having so much trouble with the mail nowadays with all the weather.
I see.
It could, well, you see, they go to Memphis, and they're in bundles. And so in Memphis, they put, they direct the different bundles to the different areas, and most of the people have gotten them. If I send, say, 600-700 pieces, and I get maybe 20 complaints, well, that's alarming, but most of them have gotten there by now. I mean, a lot of people call up and they say, I got the packet, I really love it, and I'm going to order stuff. And so I want them to get their packet.
Right. Okay, well, I'm not worried about it, but I thought maybe there was a problem there because of course, with this kind of bulk rate you're mailing, I have no experience with that, so it's quite possible they shoved that in the back somewhere.
Well, now you see, here is the thing with the bulk rate. Instead of paying over $1 to send it, as I do now, it's about 57 cents a piece. See, so that is a big savings. And, of course, with bulk rate mail, they take care of that when they have absolutely nothing else to do. See, so that's another reason for the delay. In most cases, it doesn't have any problems, but this batch of mail I've had problems with, so I'm not doing that anymore.
Right. Let me ask you another question. I think I'm acquainted with you from way back in the 60s, and I was wondering, I'd like to talk to you probably off the air. Is this the same number we call you?
Well, no. When you get the packet, you'll get my other phone number. See, this is the radio thing. What were you wanting to talk to me about? I don't think you could say anything that would bother me.
Well, I think I remember meeting you in Arlington in the old days. And,
oh, the good old days.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've stayed down there a few times, and I thought...
Well, actually, no, I was never at Arlington. I was on the West Coast.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, well then maybe I was thinking...
I knew a lot of the guys from Arlington when they would come to the West Coast.
Right. Okay, well, I was really pleased to hear you, and you've got a lot of good informative stuff. I just bought a little gun, and I was kind of sorry that I bought it after I heard what you said, and I just want to get your opinion.
Yeah.
I bought a Davis, it's called a Davis P360. It's a semi-automatic 9mm. It is made in California. And you were saying something about semi-automatics not being really the thing of choice because they're a little complicated?
Yeah, well, the more moving parts you have on any mechanism, the better the chance is it's going to fail you.
Right.
And I have had several automatic pistols, and bang, 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 and then no bang, and why?
Yeah.
They get jammed in the magazine, and it's just... I wound up throwing them away because that kind of stuff I won't even pawn off on a sucker.
What would you recommend in the $150 range?
Well, I would recommend a 38 Police Special 6-inch barrel. And you get that for under $150.
Is that right?
And once you learn how to use it, it's as good. It's a 9mm.
Huh. I thought it was really interesting. They have I think it's a 10-day waiting period in Maryland.
Yeah.
And I bought my pistol, and the waiting period was 5 weeks.
Yes.
Kept calling every day to see if I'd been approved,
and
they were telling me that they were backlogged, and so apparently a lot of people are buying pistols, but the 10-day waiting period is a big deal. You know, they can make it as long as they want if they want to. And
I know, but look, you talk about the backlog. Now, don't you think that every gun dealer in the country is just blessing Brady's heart?
Oh, they love it.
Yes, and making a lot of people rich with those stupid anti-gun laws. My goodness.
Not about it.
I should bet, I won't say it, but if someone should tell me that the NRA is backing all these anti-gun laws, I would be inclined to believe it.
Well, that would be something like a self-defeating prophecy, though. Eventually it'll catch up, and then there won't be...
Well, when every man, woman, and child has an arsenal, but before all of that nonsense, the gun sales were down, because I used to run a gun publication called The Gun Runner, and I went to gun shows every couple of weeks, and when I started going, there was 1,000 gun shows, and the next year there was 2,000 gun shows because they started threatening all of these gun laws.
Right. Well, I admit that I bought this thing because of this gun law stuff. You know, the only thing I had was 22s, and I figured, well, I better get something while I can.
Well, you ought to subscribe to U.S. Militia and learn how to make your fantastic shotgun for less than $5.
Huh. Is that is all this information included in that package that's coming?
Well, you get the issue 3 of the U.S. Militia. The how to make it is in the issue 1.
Okay, but now, you'll have a form on how to subscribe to that.
Oh, of course, of course. And if you want to send me $35, you'll get all 3 issues right away. And also, maybe, well, people who order a few days from now, they'll probably start with 4 issues. And in issue 4, I have the most fantastic murder weapon ever was. It's cheap, it's silent, it's totally lethal, and Clarence invented it. He's my psychotic murderer. He's a mass murderer, and he doesn't know it. And that's the best kind, because you can't catch him.
No doubt about it. Well, I'm only keeping in mind to keep the mass murderers away from me.
Yes.
Only that reason, and only that reason alone.
Well, if you don't give them reason to suspect you're a Martian, you're perfectly safe.
Well, I hope not. I hope so. Listen, you take care, and I enjoy the show, and keep up the good work.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Kurt.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963, and the mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
Hi, Kurt. Steve in Illinois.
Hi, Steve.
How you doing? One of the things I'm curious about, you mentioned a 38 caliber handgun. Why not a 357? Can't you use 38 bullets in those also?
Well, if it's geared for that, I think it would be a good thing. If you can use 2 different kind of... Yes, you can.
Okay. I was just wondering about that.
My engineer, Terry, says you can.
Okay.
Well, now, wait a minute. I'm a little unclear on that. He knows a lot more about guns than I do. Can you shoot the 38 caliber from the 357 Magnum? Yes, he says you can, but it's not the other way around. You can't shoot the 357 caliber from the 38 from the police special.
Right. I was curious about that, because it would be nice, to be able to use two different ammunition.
Yes. Okay. So get your 357 Magnum, and you can shoot both rounds. I think he indicated to me that one round was longer.
Oh, okay.
See?
Probably the 357 or play
Yes.
powder or something.
And as long as it should be a revolver, however.
Right. One other thing, what is the subscription price for your Shoestring Entrepreneur?
Only $15, and you get a bunch of back issues of The Survivor. See, the Shoestring Entrepreneur was mainly a name change, but when I went to Shoestring Entrepreneur, I decided I'm going to make it more a family magazine and take all of the radical stuff and put the radical hair-raising stuff in U.S. militia.
Okay.
This way, most people subscribe to both of them.
Okay, well, great. And if you have any other, I heard you mention Granddad's Wonderful Book of Chemistry the other night.
Well, yeah, they're all out. We have Granddad's Wonderful Book of Chemistry. We have the Survivor bound volumes. That's when I get 12 issues. Then I rework them, add more material, and put it into a bound volume. And we got 4 bound volumes of the Survivor, and I'm working on volume 5 now, which I hope to have done in a couple of months. And then there'd be 6, 7, and 8, and then after that, that's Shoestring Entrepreneur. But it's a whole encyclopedia of cottage industries, home businesses, all kinds of wonderful things, mainly centered around how your great-grandparents made a living and took care of the home day by day, and how they prospered. It gives you a very genteel, prosperous 19th century lifestyle, a lot of nostalgia there, but practical stuff that you can apply starting today. And then, of course, there's the Poor Man's James Bond, which I've got 4 volumes of it. They all have well over 400 pages on bond paper, 8.5 by 11, and that's an encyclopedia of do-it-yourself weaponry, everything you want to know about weapons.
Okay, well, great. We'll just keep on informing everybody, and maybe one of these days we'll take our country back.
Well, I don't even know about, taking the country back. I think we're going to start a new civilization. That's what I'd rather do, because there are too many elements in this country that I don't want back.
Well, I'd like to hear you expound more on that in a future program, maybe.
Well, I started to, what I was talking about today leads into it tomorrow.
Okay, well, great. I'll be listening.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
Kurt.
Yes.
I'm calling from Jasper, Alabama. I'm listening to your broadcast here.
Oh, I love Jasper, Alabama.
Yeah, that's the kit man capital of the world.
Yes.
Well, look, me and a friend here in Jasper, Ken is his name, and me and him listen to you every night, and from 6 until 7, and I want the package. I want to order the package, and we're interested in issues that Poor Man James Bond too.
Yeah, well, you'll get the descriptions of the Poor Man's James Bond, because both the U.S. militia and the Shoestring Entrepreneur describes all of the books and tapes.
Okay, and that's 95.
P.O. Box 95.
Okay.
Alpena, A-L-P-E-N-A, Arkansas. That's A-R 72611. And take advantage of your $5 credit on both subscriptions.
Okay. Okay, it's $10 per package.
Yes.
I just send the money.
Well, if he's a close friend, just share it.
Yeah, okay, well, I can do that. I thought maybe me and him both would need a package each.
Well, you far away from him?
No.
Okay, if you're not far away from him, if you trust one another to loan it back and forth.
Yeah, I trust him.
See, so that way you don't need to pay for 2 when you can get the same for 1.
Okay, what are your issues selling for now? You letting Paladin Press handle a lot of them?
No, Paladin Press and I don't get along. I wouldn't have anything to do with those people. They're selling the books that were pirated from me. They're enemies.
Well, see, they're getting like $29 for your first issue. I think.
Well, yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, for me, when you buy it from me, it's $18. It's on bond paper instead of newsprint.
Yeah.
And if you're a subscriber, it's $16.20.
Oh, okay. Well,
also, they don't sell volumes 3 and 4 or the chemistry book.
Oh.
They can't get my good books.
All right. Well, Ken was telling me about, he's been knowing you since the 60s. And,
Yeah.
As known as the Survivor.
Yeah.
And it's new to me.
Mm-hmm.
And since I was born about that time.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here making the envelope out now, and it's $10, and I'll get it off to this address.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll see what we can come up with.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye-bye. Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
Yes. This is Bernie down here in Florida.
Hi, Bernie.
Yeah, I just got your package today. I mailed it a week ago this past Tuesday, and today's Thursday, so that's like 9 days I got it.
Well, you see, because I sent it book rate.
Yes.
It's getting their book rate faster than the bulk rate.
Yes, and
Do you like what you get?
Pardon?
Did you like what you got?
Yes. Matter of fact, I just opened it, just about 3 hours ago, but I had to run into town, and it's real interesting. And I know my wife; she likes a shoestring entrepreneur, and I'm probably going to get the U.S. militia too as a starter.
Well, remember your $5 refund.
Right.
$5 credit, that is.
Yes, and also that David Koresh thing. That picture of them children's and people's bodies piled up there on page 45 is something. This book would be almost a collector's item in itself.
Oh, it's definitely a collector's item because after they run out, they're not going to be reprinted anymore because Koresh's mother stipulated that. She said the book was not to be for sale, so I'm using it as a premium, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Yes, it looks like something out of one of them concentration camps, and I don't know, people really need to take heed on this stuff. Yes, and we do listen to your show. My wife and I, every night, we're glued to this set, when it comes on. So.
Well, I'm glad, and I hope I haven't offended you or your wife.
You haven't offended us at all. That's why we listen to you.
Anything that comes in, see, I'll address myself to anything, and sometimes I give my confused views on something that really rattles somebody's cages, but that's showbiz.
Yes, so just keep up the good work. We
Okay.
enjoy listening to you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, again, the phone number is 501-437-2963, and the mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
Yeah, I'm calling from Macon, Georgia.
Yes?
When do you think all the stuff's going to start taking place?
Well, it started taking place about 50 years ago, and it's accelerating. And things are getting worse and worse year after year. And it might not happen overnight, but then again, it could, well, like maybe next year, this Figgy, where he wrote Bankruptcy in 1995, see, the idea he had on that, he's a businessman and he knows a lot about economics. And his idea is that whereas the national debt has gone up to $4.5 trillion, and the interest on the national debt a couple of years ago was 200 and something billion. This next year it's going to be over 600 billion, which the government has to pay whether they like it or not. So you can talk about the national debt, well, so what, it doesn't matter, we're never going to be able to pay it off, but you got to pay the interest, see? You understand that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now by 1995, with Clinton's giveaway programs, and all like $30 billion for the earthquake and another $30 billion for the flood, and who knows what this weather's causing. Even a good government is going to run out of money, and of course we got probably the worst government we've ever had in history. Then they're not going to be able to raise that $600 billion to pay the interest on the national debt, And so what they're going to do is they're going to cut off what they call the entitlements. That's the welfare and Social Security. Now, they might not cut it off overnight. They might start whacking it off. Instead of getting $400, you might get $300, or they'll start cutting back on Medi-Cal and Medicare and Medicaid and whatever. And so they'll be cutting off on these things that people just think that they have a right to. Whether they do or not is beside the point. They're just not going to get them. And then people will be starving, and unless they buy my books, of course. And then the people in the cities will riot. The cities will burn. All of the utilities will be broken down, and it will be the collapse of the system. And when the system collapses, it's not simply, a lot of people seem to think it's going to be some kind of power transfer, but it's going to be just the opposite. As I've said before, don't be afraid of your government, be afraid because you have no government, because the government is going to break down as if it hasn't already. And we got these politicians, for instance, they don't really know how to do anything because you can't do anything about the problems we've got now. They're just too monumental. And still, all they think about is staying in their office and hoping to get elected next time and putting their foot in the face of the guy coming up behind them. So they don't know how to govern. They're not statesmen like we had maybe 100 years ago. They're not interested in statecraft. They're just a bunch of greedy pigs wanting to be at the public trough. And so they just looting the whole country, and the economy is getting sillier and sillier, and we got more and more people than we can take care of. Like I said, about 100 million social dependents. We got at least 35 million on welfare and 41 million on Social Security, and then the rest to make up the 100 million would be the people on all kinds of pensions, and we got at least 1 million people in prison. And they're talking about building more and more prisons for who knows how much money to put more and more people in. And for 1 million people we got in prison, we got probably 1 million people who were released and who should be in prison. And so we've got such a mess on our hands that it's going to be every man for himself and let the devil take the hindmost. And so that's what I'm promoting, that every individual should start thinking of himself and his loved ones and the people in his community. And you should think seriously about starting a U.S. militia group in your community so that you can fight off criminals coming into your area to loot, because your police departments won't be paid for very long, because when the system fails, the policemen go home to take care of their families, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, that's
okay, and the National Guard, well, you can't depend on the National Guard in a real emergency, because when it hits their homes, they're going to take care of the kids. They're not going to be running around in someone else's neighborhood. And as far as UN personnel coming over here, why, these UN personnel from Britain, they're going to have trouble taking care of their own people in London, and so on all over the world. So your system worldwide is cracking up. It's been cracking up for the last 50 years, but it's accelerating. It's getting worse and worse because more and more people are on the dole, and more people are crazy and getting out of line. You listen to your TV night by night, you see people just going around shooting people they don't even know. I think I'll read my editorial, The Coming Mass Insanity in America. Maybe I'll do that Monday. But there is such a thing as mass insanity, and that's growing too. You watch your news, there's no reason for it. People just shooting everybody right and left, not even asking for money. It's just crazy as could be. Like this guy that got on the train and just shot as many people as he could. He was out of his mind. Okay, that's about it. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you for calling. Bye-bye.
How have you been on?
About 7 weeks. Now it's sign-off time. I'll talk to you tomorrow. So this is Kurt Saxon saying goodbye and be good.